If we think about somebody who is committed to improving their diet, who's going to try to exercise, who's going to do the things, how movable and over what time frame should we expect to see improvements if we need to work on some of these?
That's a good question. And people aren't going to like the answer either. Because the answer is when we follow people's antioxidants and carotenoid levels in their tissues, we find that it takes 9 to 12 months of eating healthfully to see the levels go from 10, 20, 30,000 to where they should be at 80, 90, or 100,000. So you don't just suddenly eat healthy for a week or two and your levels of nutrients in your tissues are at ideal levels. You got to eat healthily for a year. And you got to drop a lot of body fat in the process if you want to see a nutrient concentration of your tissues. Just imagine if you lost 100 pounds of body fat, you just doubled the concentration of antioxidants in the remaining mass in your body. You just took away. So if you were 50% body fat and now you're 15% body fat, your level of nutrient concentration in your tissues just went up by 60%. You know what I'm saying? So yes, it takes time to fix some of these things. And people have to be patient with it. But even while they're fixing it, we see incredible progress in how people are feeling. Their diabetes goes away. Their blood pressure normalizes. Their headaches go away. They don't have to achieve measured perfection to start to feel better and be healthier, even though it might take longer to get to that level of really in the ideal range. Right. You know what I mean? But good question.
Are there to that point about, something like if you're trying to bring a prediabetes or a type 2 diabetes down, right, you're going to be looking at insulin, you're going to be looking at A1C. Are there other proxy markers related to nutrients as we think about a large blood test of some kind that you would watch that would be moving as your health is improving, as your diet is improving?
Believe it or not, the most important one is body fat percent. Because as the body fat percent goes down, and it's the direction of travel of the body fat percent. Let me explain this. A person is 80 pounds overweight, right? And they just losing 3 pounds a week and they just lost 25 pounds, their diabetes is gone. They're still 60 pounds overweight now. They lost the first 20 pounds of the 80 they were overweight. They're still 60 pounds overweight, but their diabetes is gone. If they keep losing weight, it'll never come back. But if they start to gain weight and they gain a little, their diabetes will come back again. Let's say they lost 40 pounds. Great, I lost 40 pounds. That's phenomenal. Go to Las Vegas and pig out at the buffets and gain back 10. You're still 30 pounds down. But if you gain back 10, your diabetes is back, even if you're 30 pounds down. Because you just gained back 10. And you know what? Your cholesterol went back up. Your insulin resistance went back up. Your inflammatory markers, your HSC or P, went back up. The markers of heart cardiovascular death, myeloperoxidase and oxidized LDL just went up. What I'm saying is that losing weight is a tremendous benefit in improving markers and lowering risk. But if you start gaining weight, you're going to be pushing your numbers in the other direction pretty quickly. So weight becomes a primary direction of travel. I say you're a Nutritarian. The diet, when you're eating healthfully and at your ideal weight, or you're eating healthfully and you're moving in the direction of your ideal weight. But if you start traveling in the wrong direction, or you're overweight and not losing, then there's something you're doing wrong, and you can't expect the blood markers to fix themselves. The blood markers fix themselves when you're traveling in the right direction and you're eating the right foods and the right amount of those foods. So people have to eat a lot of the right foods, and they have to try to figure out, be a scientist artist in their own body, the art of knowing their perfect caloric window that meets their metabolism, their exercise capacity, and their genetics that tell, well, how many calories do I need to keep my body fat under 15% as a 70-year-old male? You know what I mean? To the amount of exercise I'm doing, I figured out, I should eat about this. I feel like eating about this much of food. It's working. I'm not gaining weight. So people have to figure this out and keep going in the right direction.
How do you recommend people figure that out? How much of it comes down to feeling? I've heard you talk about the idea of sort of, I don't want to misconstrue this, but I think it's like basically learning to eat when you're hungry, not just because you have cravings or because it's lunchtime.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you don't eat enough healthy food, you never can get the instinctual connection with hunger. So I tell people, well, let's have you eat a giant salad every day, have at least a half a cup to a cup of beans every day, at least 1 to 2 ounces of nuts and seeds every day, at least 3 to 5 pressures of fresh fruit a day, at least, we're giving people at least a half a cup of onion and mushroom a day. Let's see, what are you eating? So let's at least give you the basic prescription of what you should be eating every day of healthy food. And then once we get nutrients in your body, we can start to deal with your cravings and why you were overeating. Because until you supply some nutrients and some fiber and some tissues and some, you're not going to be instinctually connected with the body's signals how much food you should eat. You're going to want to overeat all the time because you're nutritionally deficient. So first, so it's more a question of, at the beginning at least, getting enough healthy food in the body, and that'll crowd out more of the unhealthy stuff too, and you start to feel more satisfied. But you're right. I'm saying eventually, when a person gets healthy enough, then that takes time. Then they can eat what they feel like eating, because the amount of food they feel like eating will be the right amount of food. But that's because they've achieved the nutrient adequacy we're talking about here.